Hi, I'm Chris Shelton.
And I'm Parisa Shelton.
Coming to you live from sunny San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the art of increasing your sexuality.
How to improve your sexual energy.
How to improve your sexual energy and how to improve your sexual connection to your partner if you have one. So with that said, hit it. Okay, with that said and done, now let's get a little bit serious. So, all this month I've been talking about the art of giving. So we started off the beginning of the month with tithing, the importance of tithing, giving back 10% of your earnings, your proceeds that you pull in. The art of gratitude, to be grateful, simple tools and exercises that you could do to express your gratitude towards just being here on this planet. And then last week, what we talked about was the art of
volunteering.
Does that bring?
Give your time.
Yeah. So the importance of volunteering and giving back to society and your fellow men and women. And so on that same energetic flow, we thought that we'd talk about the art of giving to your partner. So there's some very simple practices also in Chinese medicine referred to as the Tao of Sexology. And what does the Tao mean?
What does the Tao mean?
The Tao means the path or the way. So in this case here, what we're talking about is how to cultivate this life force energy in order to not only to develop a bond with your partner, but if you're celibate, we're going to talk about that too. If you're practicing celibacy, we're going to talk a little bit about that for both men and women and give you practices to do. But if you're with a partner, how to increase that connection, that bond. And ultimately, the whole purpose of the Tao of Sexology is to increase your spiritual awakening and to increase your spiritual opening. So with that said, I just want to talk a little bit first about like the ideology behind sexual function inside the body according to Chinese medicine. So your kidneys and your liver play a huge role. The kidneys are responsible for your sexual drive, your ability to have a sex drive itself. The liver blood plays a role because, especially for men, it's liver blood is what's needed in order for that thing to go pink like that. So we need to have the combination of the two. Other organs do play a role in it as well. But generally speaking, when we look at sexual dysfunctions or the inability to have an orgasm or just not having a sex drive whatsoever, we have to look at what's going on not only psychologically with the person, but also we have to look at the etiology and the function of the kidneys and the liver system, liver network. Yeah, so your kidneys control so many things. So at the time of conception, between your parents, God, your environment predetermines this kidney well, like how long will your life be, how well you fight off disease. And, it's a God-given gift that we have the sexual urge and sexual drive. Now, it's meant to be used appropriately, obviously, to avoid unnecessary calamities in my life. And God knows I've created a few of those. But anyway,
we all have.
But anyways, but also, the kidneys control your ears, your reproductive system, controls your bones, your bone marrow, your brain, all the major glands inside the body. It's the basis for blood, it's the basis for sweat, all the fluids, and actually the heat that helps for the transformational processes inside the body. So,
your hair and your teeth?
Yes, your hair and your teeth are also extensions of the kidney chi. That's why as you age, generally speaking, you have like bone degeneration, hearing loss, your teeth may become weak, your hair may fall out or gray. And there's some people that have naturally gray hair, but if you have premature graying, that might be your kidney's way of knocking on the back door and saying, listen to me, we need to conserve our essence. So the kidneys are the one organ inside the body that are always deficient. And the best way never excess. Now the bladder, for which the kidneys connect to, can definitely be excess, but the kidneys in general are never excess or always deficient. They're always replenished by sleep. And Qigong practices like the ones we're going to teach you today can not only help to build up your kidney essence, but also help to build and strengthen your sexual drive and your sexual ability. So,
ooh, that sounds great.
Woohoo!
Excuse us for a minute. No, just kidding.
Okay, so to start off with, there's some very simple practices to do. In the Tao of Sexology, there's many different practices that a person could do. And if you are somebody that is celibate or is practicing celibacy for the purpose of serving God or your higher self, you have to know what to do with that energy. So especially you men out there, I mean, it applies to women too, but men, you have to be able to move that energy. So if you're practicing celibacy for the purpose of serving God or whatnot, you still have that sexual drive, so you have to move that energy. Otherwise, we have a higher risk of prostate cancer and testicular cancer because that energy gets stuck, okay? And also the same thing for women too.
Yeah. It's natural and normal to have a sex drive.
Yeah. And so generally speaking, if you don't have a sex drive, then it means something is going on with you. So one of the simple practices that we could do as a couple, there's these practices called the deer, or one of the practices is called the deer exercise.
Well, the deer exercise is very interesting, and
So the basis of the deer exercise, the purpose of it is to strengthen your sexual organs, but ultimately help you be able to open up more spiritually. So,
right.
So what is a good example of one of the steps, at least, of the deer
Well, the first
exercise?
step would be to bring your awareness down into your pelvic area. And especially for women, this area is very sensitive, and it's also an area that we don't really talk about that much. But just for the purpose of this video and this practice, I want you just to try to quiet your mind for a moment and take a few deep breaths and really send your attention to the tip of the pubic bone, to the vaginal opening, to the anal sphincter muscle, which are openings, and then use your mind intent and your imagination to feel that opening close. So you're going to imagine it closing and squeezing and going inwards. And then as you start to close and there's a lift up, it's like an upward current of energy that comes up from the tip of the pubic bone and the vaginal opening, coming up through the organs, through the internal system, and then to the pineal gland at the center of the brain.
So you can do this practice several times, and this applies for men too. So the cool thing about doing this practice is that you can do it from a seated, a standing, or a lying down position, whatever is most comfortable for you. And what's universal for both men and women is that you want to be able to close and pull up as firmly as you can without being uncomfortable. Hold for as long as you can, and then release. And then you're going to go ahead and pull up again. Hold for as long and as hard as you can, and then release. And then what's happening here is that you're actually helping by so now I'm talking about men. What's going to happen is you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to pull in the testes and you're going to pull in the anal sphincter muscle, and you're going to pull that energy up, hold. And as we do this, we're going to pull this energy through the 6 of the 7 major glands. So starting with the testes themselves, then going up to the adrenal glands, which rest on top of the kidneys, then the pancreas gland, the thymus gland, the thyroid gland, the pituitary gland, all the way up to the pineal gland, which then helps to open up the spiritual opening. Now, some people will suggest that you don't use creative visualization while you're pulling this energy up because they want you to feel the energy rise. But for myself, when I'm teaching my Qigong classes, to the students, I always recommend that if you have a hard time feeling this energy going up, especially through these glands in the body, then you do creative visualization.
Right, if you can't feel your pancreas, I mean, come on.
Right, what else are you supposed to do?
What are you gonna do?
So initial stages is, yes, if you have to use creative visualization, use the creative visualization,
Right.
But ultimately you want to be able to feel this electric stimuli flow through the body, through the testes, through the pancreas gland, through the thymus, to the thyroid, pituitary, the pineal gland, and you should feel this electrical charge, and then relax and do it all over again.
So my question is this a practice that if I'm looking to enhance my sexual energy and my connection with infinite intelligence, this is a practice I do by myself or that I do with a partner?
Well, this particular practice we're going to do by ourselves. Now, we will practice the deer practice, especially men. I'm going to talk about this on how to have better control so you don't be a minute man. What's that song?
Take notes.
It's all Rocket Man. So, but yeah, that's a good question. And so it's meant to be done alone to help to strengthen and pull this energy up to open up the spiritual awakening. So a little bit further etiology behind why are we doing these practices. So the energy of the kidneys and your reproductive system, they call this the Jing. In Chinese medicine, Chinese philosophy, they believe that this is the energy of life. You want to conserve. This is a precious commodity. You want to reserve it and you want to refine it. And so whenever you have a release, an orgasm, and in the clinical textbooks, it was saved for, some of the textbooks say for men, but studying with my teacher was for both men and women. The more orgasms you have, then what happens is that you actually will deplete this essence quicker. Now, don't get me wrong, it's different for everybody. I think the clinical textbooks were saying something like 18 to 25 is like 8 to 10 orgasms a day. A day. I don't know many people that'd be able to get up and walk.
18 in a week.
No. I don't know many people to get up and be able to walk after that. But anyways, so the whole idea is because this energy helps with your longevity. And like I said, so it's not about not having sex, but if it's about being able to have this better control. And if you have a partner that's on this journey with you, then a very simple practice to do is called the microcosmic orbit. But we're going to do the dual microcosmic orbit. So what's going to happen here, now obviously we're keeping this PG right now, so otherwise, be that Marvin Gaye song, let's get it on. Oh! Okay.
Sing to me, Daddy.
So what's going to happen here is that I'm going to pull the energy through me, and I'm just using the hands as an example, keeping this PG, and it's going to go up her back, up her spine, down the front, and then it's going to go through the hands, then up my spine, down the front, and then back around. So it makes like a figure 8. And so the better way to do this is to go ahead and have the breathing in conjunction with your partner. So as she exhales, I inhale. Then as I exhale, moving the energy up her spine, she exhales down the front, into the inhale, up the spine. Exhale, moves down through her coccyx, up the spine, up over the top of the head. And then I come down and up around. As she exhales, it goes down through the front channels and then up through my spine as I inhale. And then as I exhale, flows down through my conception vessel here, down and out through the hands, I'm imagining, and then up her spine as she inhales, and then exhales, coming back down and around, inhale. Oh. And she exhales, I'm going to inhale. So again, the whole idea here is I'm making this figure 8. So if you are in this intimate position, then obviously the energy would be going through the penis, up the spine, up around, down through the front, through the vagina, up the penis, up the back, down the front. And it's making this whole figure 8 movement of energy. And believe it or not, when you do this, what will happen if you practice this enough, then what could happen is if an orgasm is like a 10 and then it falls off, this is like a constant 7 or 8, but it doesn't stop until you want it to stop. So you can keep this going for as long as you want to. And it helps to refine this essence between you and your partner. Okay, I think we should get a room. No,
No. 5, boop, and action.
Okay, so if you're doing this practice separately, a simple practice to do is the microcosmic orbit by yourself, right? You want to talk about the microcosmic orbit?
Yeah, microcosmic orbit is a practice that opens up the two of the 8 major acupuncture meridians. So you're going to start by guiding the breath up the spine as you inhale, and then as you exhale, down the front of the face, the chest, the abdomen, and through the pelvis. If you want to add the arms, it helps with the visualization process. So inhale and breathe up the back, up over the head. Exhale down the front of the face, the chest, the belly. And again, slightly lifting up through the pelvic floor, squeezing the anal sphincter as you exhale, breathing down the front of the face, the chest, the abdomen. Like a pump, breathe up the back. And as you exhale down the center midline of the body, inhale up the spine, up over the head. Exhale down the front of the face, the chest, the belly. Inhale up the back, and exhale down the front. And to connect those two major meridians, you can take the tongue to the roof of the mouth behind the teeth and imagine like an ellipse orbiting around the torso and the head. Inhale up the back and exhale down the front. And you can do this practice pretty much anywhere with your eyes open or closed, especially if you're driving, keep your eyes open. And it's very good to boost your energy, to connect with your body, to take your, out of your head and back into your lower abdomen. It's a great practice that everyone really should be doing.
Fantastic. And if you are practicing celibacy, a simple practice to add into that, we call this beating and drumming the chi. And this applies for both men and women. So let's go ahead and face one another, because what's going to happen is, I want the audience to see, is that we're going to use our hands to guide the energy, but because if you're practicing celibacy and you still have the sexual urge and don't understand that the energy is naturally there, that you have to move it. And the whole purpose is, if you are practicing celibacy to serve God, the whole purpose of it is that you refine this essence enough to become closer to God, because now what happens is the mind chatter goes away and your energy becomes much, much, much lighter, much more refined, closer to this all-knowingness, this greatness. So we don't want this energy to get stuck. So a very simple practice to do is we're going to pull from our perineum.
The perineum is between the pee hole and the bee hole.
And we're going to pull up, do a circle up to our Ming Men, which is the acupuncture point right between the left and right kidneys, opposite the belly button. Move this energy through the body to the belly button, or right below the belly button, and then back around to the perineum, then straight up the spine, up over the top of the head, now doing the microcosmic orbit down the front. And then what's going to happen is we're going to circle up and down, so through the microcosmic orbit meditation, then beating, drumming chi from the perineum, Ming Men, to chi hai right below the belly button, up the spine, up over the top of the head, down the front of the face, the chest, the abdomen, coming around, and then up the spine, up over the top of the head, down the front of the face, the chest, the abdomen, coming around again, from the perineum to the Ming Men to chi hai, then straight up the spine, up over the top of the head, down the front of the face, the chest, the abdomen. Now, you don't have to use your hands to do this. If you can feel the energy, or if you could use your creative visualization to do this practice, that's okay as well too. The whole idea here is that we want to move this sexual energy and refine it. Okay? Very simple practice, very easy to do. Okay, now for men, not to be a minute man, very simple practice to do here is, while having intercourse, start practicing this deer practice while you are in amidst having intercourse. And if you start to feel that urge, then what you do is you actually pull that energy up your spine and then back down and around. Okay, so pull it up and around. So instead of allowing it to flow out, if you want to please your partner better, pull it up. Imagine, even if you have to pause for a second to gain control again with the breathing, visualize this energy, this feeling sensation going up the spine, down and around. Now, if you want to go ahead, and even if you have a partner that's not practicing it with you, then you could go ahead and move it through both directions.
And from personal experience, it is wow.
TMI. Okay. So one last thing I want to say is that, and I get to address this for men, maybe you could address your personal experience for women, but sure. For men out there that see this video, a lot of times I find in my clinical practice, it's hard for us men to be able to talk about sexual dysfunctions to anybody else. And, it does happen, and it happens at all ages. It's not just above age, 40 or whatever. No, it can happen for various reasons, psychologically, like I said, physically, or it could be a combination of both. It could be your diet. There's all kinds of things. So please reach out by email. And if you have any questions, respond to the link down below. Also, the book, Qigong for Self-Refinement, Total Health of the Five Elements, also talks more about the kidney function, liver function, how all these organs function together. But if you're a man and you don't have somebody to talk to about this, or you feel embarrassed, or you feel ashamed about this, please reach out, because this is something that we need as men. We need to talk about this stuff and need to have a safe place in order to talk about it. So, you have anything you want to share for women?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just know from, being in the Western culture that sex is really a taboo issue, and it's something that we don't really talk about. And there's a lot of misunderstanding and misinformation and misconduct between people because they're not understanding this energy flow, and that having these sexual desires is natural and normal, and that when we repress how we're feeling, that's when imbalances and disease manifest. So it's being very clear for women and for men, noticing how you feel and tapping into that intuition, and then finding, like Chris had mentioned, a safe place, someone, a counselor, an advisor, someone that you can talk to in order to really understand like what's going on up here, and direct it into a positive way, because really that's what this whole programming, and that's what our mission is to give you tools to be healthy and happy, and sexual health is a big part of that. So our intention with this video is to, number one, share that being generous with your lover gives back to yourself and connects you with the whole. And number two is that you have the power within you to heal your body and to achieve anything that your heart desires.
Yeah, so please reach out and click on the link below. Get our book, Qigong for Self-Refinement, Total Health with the 5 elements. And there's more practices in there on our YouTube page as well too, like the kidney move and the white pearl meditation, the kidney sound, other practices that you could do to strengthen your kidneys. And I think if you want to hear more about this, if you're interested, if this is a topic, or if there's any topics that we have not covered yet, we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like us to go a little bit deeper with this Taoist Sexology practices and techniques, we still have to keep it PG for everybody, but we could definitely add more to it. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but I feel that the information that we gave today is enough to really help benefit relationships, spiritual development, and health.
Absolutely.
So from sunny San Jose, California,
it's been our pleasure. Thank you so much, and may you be at peace.
May you be at peace, and may the force be with you.